just have to eat a sandwich while your RX-8 cools off because it won't start when it's hot. Because I stand for making RX-8s one of the most reliable vehicles as seen on the internet by all the Rotary people whose RX-8s run way better than everybody's RX7. It's just par for the course with RX-8s. Premature engine expiration. And that Miata with his top down, hairdresser hair flying, is just going to roll you. And then you're going to be sitting there wishing you had like maybe an RX-7, but your superior chassis RX-8 is still the best. What is up, Rad Potential YouTube? Welcome to the moment you have all been waiting for. I'm going to prep this average, very average RX-8 to be put on the dyno so that we can be all too impressed by the whopping horsepower numbers that this thing puts down. So this is a 2004 Mazda RX-8. It has a rebuilt engine, but we're still just going to call it an average engine. I believe the engine probably has 20,000 miles on it. Rebuilt with used parts. Okay, so new apex seals, new rotor seals, but used housings, used irons. Pretty much what you could expect from probably an average 50 to 60,000 mile engine out of any RX-8, even though this one's rebuilt. The chassis itself, I think we've got about 157,000 miles on this car. It's completely stock. 100% completely stock, down to the catalytic converter, the intake manifold. Literally the only thing not stock about it is we're going to take the air conditioning belt off so we make some more horsepower. I have a plethora of things that I'm going to actually not install before we go to the dyno because I want to see the difference that they make when we're on the dyno. A fresh parts store oil filter right here. Keep in mind, this thing is average, guys. I'm trying to make this as relatable to your RX-8 at home as possible. Parts store. $6. No fancy K&N filters around here, even though that might pick up a little horsepower being less restrictive. NGK spark plug wire set. I'm not going to install this until we get to the dyno because we're going to test and see how much of a difference some of these things make. Fresh spark plugs. You definitely should install fresh spark plugs before you go to the dyno. These aren't the only set of coils we're going to be bringing to the dyno. We're not going to be testing no eBay, Amazon special $30 ignition coil on this car. It's got LS coils plus one stock coil on it now. We're going to dyno it just how it is in its current ignition configuration. The only thing that we're doing right now that's going to be an upgrade, and honestly isn't entirely necessary for a stock RX-8, but it is necessary if you want your RX-8 to stay healthy. We're running renewable lubricants, 20W50 racing oil in this car. So RX-8s have what's called an oil metering pump. They take oil from the oil pan and they squirt it into the rotor housings in order to lubricate everything. So you really can't run a full synthetic race oil because it's not going to burn off in your daily driving activities very well. And you're going to get an excess of carbon buildup and your engine is going to expire prematurely. It's just par for the course with RX-8s. Premature engine expiration. Everybody's always like, you know, it's the best car ever. Superior rotary engine chassis, the RX-8. And then you come out and you're like, well, I think it's going to make, this is my guess, 138 wheel horsepower. That's my guess. 138. I hope I get like my expectations completely blown away and it makes 139. But 138, that's what I'm thinking. To the tire, stock exhaust, stock, everything. Let's change the oil in this bad thing. Right now it's warmed up, so I'll show you guys a hot start, and you guys can kind of get a feel for how good this engine is or how bad it is. Compare it to your own RX-8 at home, and make sure you drop in the comments below how much power you think this is going to make, because it's going to be extravagantly low, and I'm very excited for it. This is your average RX-8 fire up. You can see right here, we are warmed up. I'm not going to touch the gas pedal. It's coming. There we go. How about that? A very average fire up for an RX-8. Not too fast, you know, we don't have that super healthy brand new engine. Not too slow like we're, you know, hot start worrying about leaving it at gas stations and it shutting off and not restarting for 20 minutes and having to roll start it or sit there and wait to get towed or just have to eat a sandwich while your RX-8 cools off because it won't start when it's hot. This thing's actually not that bad. Stock down to the dirt, insulation, and complete mess of an engine bay that this thing is. The best mod ever though, we got us a Mazda Tricks oil cap. Look at that. thing is top of the line, high class. If you're looking close though, you can see. So if you look down there, you can see that my AC idler pulley is completely gone. Belt is just riding on a seized up bearing. So we needed to remove the belt in order to change the idler anyways. So I'm just going to remove the belt and leave it off. Because that's probably worth, you know, I mean, when you're on the interstate and you've got a Mazda Miata next to you, let's say an NA Miata, okay? And an NA Miata rolls up and you're just, you know, shaking in your boots because this Miata is going to roll up your stock RX-8 because it weighs 600 pounds less than you and it makes 30 or 40 horsepower more than you, right? So you reach down and you're like, we're going to hit the party button, and you tell your wife, girlfriend, whoever's riding passenger that they're going to suffer for the next 30 seconds of you having to floor the gas because you're going to turn the AC off on them. And you're going to hit the AC off and you're going to floor it, and that Miata with his top down, hairdresser hair flying, is just going to roll you. And then you're going to be sitting there wishing you had like maybe an RX7, but your superior chassis RX8 is still the best. Food for thought. RX8s are low, got to jack it up on the pinch weld. I'm going to be above average though for RX8 people and actually use a pinch weld thing so I don't smash the pinch weld. The oil bottle did not explode. Woo. Oh yeah. Nice and black, just like RX8 owners like it. Rough oil for all the maximum carbon buildup. I haven't changed the oil in this car yet, so this is true RX8 owner oil right here. Pretty much the worst part about changing the oil in the RX8 is like actually just changing the oil in general. The oil filter is on the back of the engine behind an intake manifold through an abyss of sharp objects and places that giant hands can't fit. It's also facing vertically, so when you take it off, you inevitably make a giant mess, but there's no way for you to get your hand in there to actually clean up the mess. So then your RX8 looks just like this one, where there's oil residue and mess of all sorts of stuff down here as well. Wish me luck. If you're not, oh man, at least this RX8 owner, previous owner, was smart and didn't tighten that very tight. That's a win. I was just about to make some joke about needing to be a rock climber, that you need like the ultimate forearm grip strength to get this oil filter off, but unfortunately, or fortunately, we didn't need it. Look at that. Oh, nice. STP. Fancy. I'd honestly probably say it's a shame to put this super nice oil in the most average RX8 ever, but it's not, because I value all RX8s and their healthy engine life, because I stand for making RX8s one of the most reliable vehicles as seen on the internet by all the Rotary people whose RX8s run way better than everybody's RX7. Keeps Rotary happy. I'm going to pour this out and this oil filter's going to go flying, isn't it? Let's put it somewhere less sloped. Guess I could have done it on the workbench too. Get this oil all over my fresh yellow paint. Oh yeah. Alright, good enough. I gotta dump all this on the back of the engine anyways when I put the oil filter on, so why am I even priming it? It's okay. The renewable lubricants oil is so good, it's just gonna clean the engine back there. It's gonna make it look like it just came off the showroom floor. Gotta wonder if they spilled oil on them from the factory, so they just come pre-oiled by the oil filter. I'm gonna try to wipe up as much of this gnarly oil mess as possible, but mainly just looking at getting the seal area clean so that way we don't have an oil leak. I don't want to make Ernie's floor oily at Phalanx Performance. I really just want to make this thing hold all its oil inside of itself, you know? Alright, here we go. Oh yeah, I can't do it left-handed. You guys are in the way. Let's spill oil on everything. Sound like a plan? If this hood falls on my head, I'm going to be so mad. And making a mess. Alright, now here's the mountain. The rock climber joke is I'm going to tighten this so tight that a rock climber is going to have to get it off. And it's going to be a good thing that I do some rock climbing in my spare time, so I got the grip strength of like Alex Honnold or something. We're going to free solo climb an RX8 oil filter. How about that? Alright. Look at that. Fresh all the way down in there. Impossible to reach from the bottom. Semi-impossible to reach from the top. Check. We're gonna break this loose. Oh yeah, just like a seized bearing should sound. The AC works in this car surprisingly well. We're probably only making, you know, random thought. I ought to bring this belt along so I can put the belt on the dyno and we can see just how much horsepower the air conditioner robs. That'd be sweet. We should do that. Look at that. I just gained 15 horsepower right there pulling the air conditioner belt off. Let's go to the dyno. All right, here we go. The good stuff. NASCAR. Let's see what a lukewarm start sounds like for the old average RX-8. This time I'll use my foot and I bet I can make it start a little bit faster if I barely touch the throttle. Actually, we'll just no foot it. No foot start, lukewarm. You see, we're kind of cooled off. Want to make sure we get oil pressure too, you know, that we actually put oil in the right hole. Look at that. Oil pressure came right up. Fire me up. We're ready for the dyno. Pretty much. This car's never overheated, but I would suggest checking your coolant, making sure you got oil and everything, making sure your clutch is bred. Huge win. Also, RX8 guys, make sure that your radio works, you know, just like this. If you touch the radio, it starts acting funny. So just do that. Make sure you're all good, but dyno ready. Crispy RX8 revs. I'm confident enough. I'm gonna shut my RX8 off cold because it's not gonna flood itself and it's gonna start again. Said every RX8 owner ever. The RX8's prepped for the dyno. We're ready to go. Ready to load this thing up. Head over to Phalanx Performance, strap this thing down, or I guess strap this thing, bolt it up on the hub dyno, and see what this thing can make. Everybody always speculates, my RX8's making 220 horsepower, or I've got a tune, or my header, or my this. So get excited, guys, because the whole plan for this yellow car is to work with Phalanx Performance. We're going to be using their dyno over and over again. Heading back out there, every time we make a change to this yellow RX8, we're going to haul it off to the dyno and see the amount of horsepower we can make. From headers to a catback to this time we're testing all the ignition coils. We'll put an intake on this thing. We'll get VersaTuner. We'll try to tune it. We'll do all the stuff we can do to see how much power we can make out of the old average Renesis engine. And then just maybe, I don't know, it might be more of a sports car. We might catch up to maybe an S2000. They do make some pretty decent jam though, don't they? Like a stock S2000. I don't know how enough horsepower, but hopefully you won't have to turn your AC off to pass a Miata on the freeway. That's the whole goal. Maybe by the end of spending thousands of dollars on your RX8, you won't get gapped by a Miata. So with that, thank you so much for watching. I hope we'll see you guys in the next video. If you love these rotary engines, if you want to follow along with this build, definitely hit the subscribe button. If you've got questions about your particular car or you want to support the channel, check out Rad Potential on Patreon as well. Tons of cool projects to go around. Give you a little quick shop tour. 4-rotor FD, rally car, the turbo first gen, the turbo truck. There's another rotary truck out there, and I'm fixing to pull my other RX8, which is getting a hybrid Renesis deal. Working on setting the engine up right now as we speak. I got to pull them both in here because, well, I got a hailstorm coming, and I don't like dents in my cars. So time to pack the shop full. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Keep it rad. All right, Letty, jump if we're going to make 138 horsepower on the dyno. Okay, 100. Or are we going to make 100 horsepower? 100? We at least going to break 100? 200? We going to make 200? Hey, we going to make 200? Dog doesn't know. 138's the number. Comment below with your number. It's a full house in here tonight. Peace, guys.